Good afternoon. Welcome to Solent Sports News. It's 3:30. I'm Louis Moore.
I'm Dylan Shavas, and here are your latest sporting headlines. Steve Cooper has signed a new contract at Nottingham Forest. The 42-year-old will now be in charge at the City Ground until at least 2025. Forest have started this season poorly, are currently bottom of the Premier League, and many believe the managerial change was imminent. Last season, Cooper oversaw Forest's meteoric rise up the Championship table as he became the first manager since 1998 to lead the Reds into the Premier League, following a 1-0 win over Huddersfield Town at Wembley.
Now, from the last male team to win at Wembley to the last female one. England's Lionesses will look to secure a third straight win at the home of football tonight as they take on world champions USA in a hotly anticipated clash under the lights, which will be watched by a capacity crowd of 90,000. England forward Beth Mead said it feels nice to be back training and playing in places with so many special memories.
A lot of good memories here. A lot of memories that we probably didn't remember the night after the final, the night of the final. No, we loved being here. It was a great base. We had a really good feel. It felt like a home away from home. So, yeah, it was nice to come back and get them feelings and memories.
Now we can actually go over to Wembley Stadium. Sad Rahman is there, and he's joined by female football expert George Rees-Julian. What have you got for me, guys?
Yes, Dylan, we're here at Wembley little under 5 hours before a mammoth game between two heavyweight nations. England, the European champions, go up against the world champions USA in tonight's game, where it might be a bit quiet now, but it is expected to be a full sellout later on this evening. And I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by our women's football correspondent, George Rees-Julian, the man that's always on the move. He was late last night, he was in Cardiff watching Wales defeat Greece to get into the progress in the playoff finals, and now he's here with us today. George, you must be absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
But how was it for you, firstly?
Yeah, I mean, watching Wales progress is always a great thing. A big game, another record crowd for Wales, 15,000. A bit like tonight, really. Massive crowds for women's football. It's always great to see.
And before we look ahead to tonight's game, I have to ask you about the European Championships final. You were there. What was the moment like for you?
I mean, it was an incredible game, you know, to have a massive crowd come out to watch England, something that maybe 5-10 years ago you would never have even imagined that being a case. And for them to win it, I think that's why we're going to see tonight 90-odd thousand people coming to Wembley again to watch them against the world champions.
Of course, and there's a few changes to tonight's squad. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we already knew that Ellen White and Jill Scott weren't going to be part of this squad. They've both retired after winning the European Championships. What we didn't know was that Leah Williamson and Alessia Russo were going to have to drop out through injury. Lucy Parker as well has had a great season at West Ham. She's had to drop out in her first call-up. But tonight will probably be a chance for us to see Rachel Daly up front. England fans will be used to seeing her at left-back where she played in the European Championships, but it's up front where she plays for her club. At Aston Villa, she's had a great start to the season. I think she's scored in every single game so far, and she's played against a lot of these American players. She's had a stint in the NWSL, so tonight's almost the perfect game for her to go back up front where more natural position for herself.
Of course, and looking ahead then to the future generations, obviously the European Championships will only help progress the talent. Do you think massive games like tonight will help it even more and help the younger generations grow up playing football?
Yeah, I think so. I think the European Championships, that's normalised women's football in this country. You know, before maybe you'd have a hardcore fan base for it, but if you look at social media, your average football fan can name a Chloe Kelly, they can name a Fran Kirby, and that's only going to make things better. But as Ian Wright rightly said, it doesn't matter if they win the European Championships if the pathways for young girls don't improve. You know, they've got to make sure that girls can play in schools, girls can play at clubs. So that's really going to be the lasting legacy, is if they can transform what's happened on the pitch and in the crowds and then allow players to actually play.
Perfect. Well, whilst we hand you back to the studio, we'll continue to soak in the atmosphere. But for now, back to you, Dylan, in the studio.
Thank you, guys. That's amazing.
Southampton have informed season ticket holders that they will be closing all of Block 1 in the Itching stand due to fan behaviour. 27 missiles were thrown across the segregation line between the home and away fans during the Saints' 2-1 loss to Everton last weekend. Further restrictions have been mooted if trouble persists. We're joined by BBC Radio Solent's Dan George to give us more on the story. Firstly, Dan, thank you very much for coming on the show today. Just briefly, why do you think there is so much trouble at Southampton at the moment?
Cheers, Louis. It's a bit of a difficult situation because, like you said, there was an incident in the previous game where projectiles were being thrown into the away fans, 27 to be precise, and a situation's now happened where Southampton's director Toby Steele threatened might happen in the fans forum earlier in the season, and fans in Block 1 have been moved to Block 2. So now, unfortunately, we've got this situation where the capacity has been reduced and Southampton season ticket holders have been moved into a different block. So, unfortunately, it's just a result of a situation they were warned about a while ago.
And do you think these restrictions are going to have an effect on the fans, or do you think it's just going to carry on?
It's mainly an inconvenience for those fans who were sat in that block, obviously very close to the away fans. There's also, unfortunately, rumours that a wall might have to be built between the fans, which no football fan wants to see in the modern game. And that would be obviously not a good situation. So we'll wait and see what happens. But at the moment, unfortunately, it's not a good position to be in.
Dan, thank you very much for coming on today.
From one South Coast club to another, and Cherries fans, this is an update you'll want to hear. We have just received news that no AFC Bournemouth takeover will be announced in the coming days. On to boxing now. The fight between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. has been postponed. It comes after Ben returned a positive drugs test, which promoters have stated was a trace of a fertility drug. Since the announcement, promoter Eddie Hearn has reiterated how tough the last couple of days have been.
Very difficult day, 24 hours, 48 hours. We were looking forward to an event that has really captured the imagination of the British public, and a fight that had so much history, myself and Calla and Wasserman Boxing so excited for, but obviously we wanted to come here today and formally announce that Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn has been officially postponed.
Now for local boxing, and the Pound for Pound Palace will be hosting an event this Saturday with many young boxers looking to take the next steps into the ring. We sent our reporters to find out more.
We stay at Pound for Pound Palace ahead of their event tomorrow night. They have 6 fighters on the card, and we caught up with some of them in midweek.
Every great boxer started somewhere, and at Southampton's Pound for Pound Palace, many will take their next step in Saturday's amateur boxing event. We spoke to 2 young local boxers who will be stepping in the ring, looking to back up their hard work with a win.
My name is Alex Toma and I'm 14 years old.
James Capra, I'm 14.
From a friend just told me about boxing, I was like, I'm not sure about it, then I just joined in and then I started liking it, been doing it for the last 4 years.
My father showed me a video of boxing and I just wanted to do it from then. It teaches me not really to get into fights. Because before I used to not really get into fights, but I was a mouthy kid back then. Now I'm not really a mouthy kid.
We've asked the boys which boxer they look up to and how confident they feel ahead of their bout.
Yeah, I got Muhammad Ali because it's just like his commitment to the work he did from young, and yeah.
Manny Pacquiao, because I tried to be similar to him, but don't think anyone can, to be honest.
Yes, kinda, because of my last fight, but yeah.
How did your last fight go then?
I lost it, but it's because I wasn't ready for it. But this time I'm more ready because I've been through the experience, and now I know what to do next. I think it's gonna go alright, just because I know the process this time. I think I'm gonna do better than last time.
I'm not really sure how to feel. Try to be more intense and focus on stamina, but we'll see in the fight.
Whatever the outcome on Saturday, the hard work has only just begun as they chase their dream of becoming professionals. I've been Adam Tilner for Solent Sports News.
And now finishing with F1, there was a surprise 1-2 in practice 2 in a soaking wet Suzuka in Japan. George Russell ended top of the session, followed by teammate Lewis Hamilton. Mercedes and the rest of the grid will be looking to delay Max Verstappen's title crowning for at least 1 more week.
That's all from us here today at Solent Sports News. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest sports news on www.solentjournalism.co.uk. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.